my name is Autumn Todd. I'm currently 18 years old. The most the thing that I'm most excited about today is for people to get to hear my background and my interests and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I'm very excited to hear your interview because we've talked a little bit before and you just seem like a very interesting person. But let's continue a little bit more with the interview. So, what is your favorite activity to do right now outside of school or work?
To be honest, I think my favorite activity is school and work. And I say this because most of the things I do, like my extracurriculars, revolve around my education. So for example, I go to school, but I do tutoring. Like I tutor people. Also my free time, I study languages, I study math and stuff like that. And then for work, my job, of course, tutoring, but also I have this thing where I'm doing philosophical discussions as a job, or at least a form of a contract or so.
Yeah.
So I would say it. I mean, yeah.
No, because that's really interesting because I know a lot of people like the reason why we bring out the out of school questions, a lot of people sometimes have a harder time, like enjoying school as much because it's either like not their cup of tea and it's something they're forced to do. So I'm glad that you're able to enjoy school for what it is, which
Yeah.
seems
So I actually do enjoy the rigor and stuff. Like I thrive on the rigor. So, yeah.
all right. So, what qualities of yourself are you most proud of? This is kind of a bigger question, I realize, and I want you to pick three.
Qualities. I think the first one would be how persistent I am. If you know my story, which you probably don't, I had to persist time over time over time. Like I would have never thought I would even be alive, which is crazy, but I persisted. Another one I'd probably say is I think I'm a quick learner. I kind of noticed that from the beginning, so I just use that to kind of help people around me, and of course to do my schoolwork. And the third one is I hear from other people that I'm pretty calm. Like I don't really judge. I'm just pretty open minded and chill, which I enjoy being. Like I just treat everyone like I would treat myself. So.
That's really great. I'm excited to get more into your story a little bit. So, we're going to continue on. Hopefully, we get to learn a little bit more about you. I'm really excited. So, what is an accomplishment, personal project, or extracurricular activity that that you were proud of working on?
I think it would be just being in Google Code Next. Like you see the Google shirt and stuff.
Think
I
you
did
like
a
Google?
series of projects.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just said I think you like Google. Sorry, just
Yeah, I
commenting
do.
on
I love Google. Yeah. So yeah, I worked on a series of projects, but of course, it's coding, but I've already done coding before. I think the thing that I really liked is I was kind of having a hard time during that time, and I also transitioned towards a different state. So I became from not being social to being social, at least to a good aspect or a healthy aspect. And I think since we were able to collaborate with other engineers, I kind of just felt that worth of hey, humans aren't bad as I thought. Like they're not bad. And also we did some mindfulness stuff. So it really helped me find who I am and enjoy other people.
Okay, so explain this little this project that you did. Was it like a camp or was it like a summer project? What was it?
So it was a series of 3 projects. So my first project, I used Python to create a couple of beats, or I would say songs, because multiple beats is a song. But so I did 4 or 5 of those, just kind of playing around with Python, seeing what I could do. I would use split functions and just move things around, tempo and all that stuff. The second one would be web development. This one, I'm pretty sure it was enjoyable in a way where I got to see different ways to use CSS. I didn't know you could use CSS for animations as well as Flexbox. And then my last one, my most favorite one, was p5.js, where we could have all these colors, multiple colors, and do a physics simulation. So I would have gradient colored blobs in space, in a black space, and I would move them around using coding. It was really it was really fun.
So, what kind of tips would you give somebody who's trying to do something similar?
I think that I would say the biggest thing is you have to be ready to be uncomfortable. Like you have to be ready to face fear. Um, and you have to be ready to be judged. I would say, because firstly, like if you're not social and you're going to a social environment, there's this like psychological thing where you think everyone's looking at you and they're judging you, which some of them are. And you have to be okay with that because humans are naturally wired to judge other people. That's how we survive, of course. um, and I would say also like be persistent, like be disciplined as well. Like you have to stay on yourself and keep telling yourself to go. Like let's say you want to learn coding, you don't have to be smart. Coding is just something where you pick up patterns and like logic. So when you're, let's say, trying to build a website, you look up documentation, you scan the documentation. Yes, you have to put in some effort, you have to put in some work, you have to click the websites and access on forums. So I would just say, to recap, be ready to be uncomfortable.
There we go. Yeah. That I really like what you had to say. I think a lot of people are often like, especially like girls who are entering like a STEM field are like afraid to like, I mean, are just afraid of like judgments and all of that. And also just like being smart enough in their field of study. So I think it's really admirable that you were able to push through the like discomfort and, become incredibly well versed in coding.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So, well, I understand you kind of talked about it already. However, what does education mean to you specifically?
Ooh, education means everything to me. I think you can't have anything without having education. That's probably like a controversial statement, but I say that because education basically just means knowledge, in a sense, you being willing to gain knowledge, not really what you know. So let's say you want to get a job. Well, you have to have knowledge of something. I mean, even if it's like lifting a box, okay, how are you going to lift this box? Has anyone taught you how to use your motor skills? So, and also just like surviving the world socially, you have to know where to meet people. Like you have your own customs, you have your own culture. I think, and I'll just say this, even though I was going to save it for my story, but I wouldn't be here if it weren't for me pushing myself to gain more education. So where I came from, I wasn't allowed to go to school, unfortunately. So when social services found out, of course, they moved me where I could have an education. And then I realized during the time when I wasn't having that education, I was reading books and I was like studying myself, trying to teach myself, which is how I learned Algebra 1. And I found out that you don't really need a teacher. But anyway, once I was removed and I was in high school, I found out the meaning, like the real value of education, I would say.
That's like an incredibly unique perspective to come at for education. That is, because I know a lot of people, I mean, I've had to do some self-study, but I couldn't teach myself an entire subject like Algebra 1 quite like that. How was that?
It was definitely frustrating sometimes. Like just looking at this one picture, it's like I don't get it. I don't get it. But then when you look at examples and like you analyze like the patterns with the similar questions and then you find out, oh, okay, you just rearrange this, you just do that. So yeah, it's a pretty fun experience when no one's telling you what to do.
All right. So, what's a topic, subject, or skill that you specifically think that should be taught in schools?
I would say logic. I mean, that's kind of a bit of a wide range of things, but I think logic in this case, like recognizing patterns, looking for things that are similar. Like you kind of learn this in kindergarten where you look at shapes, but it's a bit more advanced. So that could also be recognizing certain type of noises for like safety reasons or lights and stuff like that. So I think when you just learn logic a bit more, other subjects get easier, especially computer science in math and English. I mean, like, because you're recognizing the patterns there. So I would just say logic, yeah.
No, logic. I haven't heard that answer specifically before. That is something that I wish I had as like as a 20 something year old in the workforce. Like that would be a very interesting skill to like be able to pick up patterns. It sounds like you kind of do that in a lot of places in your life.
Yeah, I try to at least. I'm actually tutoring this like one kid. He's in first grade and he's learning calculus, which is crazy.
But
But yeah, I'm teaching him to like recognize patterns for this test to get into a gifted school. So
oh wow, that's really incredible. Oh my God, and you're already like tutoring like calculus, and and I know you're a junior in high school, correct?
yeah, I am.
That's pretty impressive. Oh my goodness. So, can you tell me about somebody who has left an impact on you and why?
I would definitely say my sister. She's my older sister. She's 20. Um, sorry.
No, you're good.
I don't know why I'm getting so emotional, but I think like seeing her struggle and like going, I mean, I was struggling too, but she was there before me. So I saw like even kind of shows on like her face. Like you look at people and you can see like stuff on their face, like what they went through. But I think I learned like a lot of stuff from my sister, like just avoiding mistakes and stuff like that. Um, and I would say that I'm like grateful to have her like as a role model in my life. Like she actually I think she completed her like GED like 1 year ago, I think. So I'm really proud of her. But as you like know, I'm in high school, I'm doing dual enrollment. So I know I have to like go further. So yeah, sorry.
It's okay. You can take your time. That's really impressive that she got her GED, though. I think a lot of times people struggle to get their diploma or their GED after a certain time. She seems like an incredible person.
Yeah, she's really funny too.
I'm really happy that she's been able to help you in your own life and help you avoid making mistakes and inspire you. So I know that you're feeling a little bit emotional. Let me know if you need a break or anything because I don't want to push you too hard or anything. But um, is there a cause or a social issue that you're passionate about, and why is it important to you?
Ooh, okay. I would say education, definitely. Like, I don't know if it was obvious, but I would also say like social equality. But I'm gonna touch more on education for now. I think every child should be. I think every child deserves free, high quality education. Like,
Yeah.
I've been trying to start like a nonprofit based on that idea, but it's been hard. Like, since I've been juggling a lot of stuff, so I couldn't like start it. But yeah, that's what I believe in. Like, that's my core thing. Like I think everyone should have a chance at least. If they don't want it, they can just, like not do it anymore. But I think every child deserves that. Like human beings as ourselves, we crave knowledge. Like even if we say we don't, we do in some aspect or some other way. So yeah, definitely education.
Education.
Mhm.
Well, I was going to ask you what kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to make a positive impact on their community? I know you talked a little bit about starting your own nonprofit, but do tell me like how else do you think somebody can make an impact or even by starting a nonprofit?
I think the best way to make an impact starts in your home.
Mhm.
So like wherever you live, if you have younger siblings, older siblings even, try to tutor them. Try to help them out on their schoolwork. Give them some knowledge here and there. Starts with yourself too. Like try to go beyond the subjects that are being taught at school. Try to do at least a year ahead, just so like you can. I think currently that subjects are like a little bit too slow. That's just my opinion. So I think getting a year ahead would be very beneficial. And also, once you're like good and comfortable with your home, you can go to your community, go to like a community center and tutor like younger children and stuff like that. Yeah.
Is that I know you mentioned that you tutor your community. Is I was going to say, is that how you make your own positive impact on the community?
Yeah, I believe so. So the girls here actually live in transitional like housing. So I live with other girls. They're younger than me. They're like middle school and elementary. So I try and tutor them and help them with their work. And so far they've been improving like pretty quickly. So I'm gonna keep working with them.
That's really amazing. All right. So I'm going to pivot a little bit and I know you're hinting at this before and you didn't want to bring it up too soon, but what is a challenge that you've had to work through and how has it shaped you personally?
Yeah, I'm just gonna use my story for this one. I mean, there's no other way.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah, go for it. I'm ready.
um, so I was born in North Carolina, but I kind of well, not kind of, I did face poverty. Like, my mom was a single mom. Everyone hears this all the time, I know, but I'll keep going. So my mom was a single mom. She had me and my sister. But we moved states like all the time. So I went to North Carolina, Virginia, then I went to Ohio. I think New York at some point in time, then Florida. And after Ohio, she wanted to get back with her ex. So she drove all the way to California. I know it's crazy, through the United States. And then she ran out of money. So we became homeless in California and Los Angeles, which is crazy to me. But I did like the like diversity because there's like people who speak Spanish. So it's pretty cool, even though you're homeless. But then, then she was like, I don't have money to feed you guys anymore, so I'm sending you to your uncle. And we're like, oh, okay. So she flew us to our uncle, and that was like the first time like I was separated from my mom. But anyway, so we went to our uncle. He's kind of like uncle, but he's not. I mean, he's not cool, but he's not bad. And then I enrolled in like a school, but it was like a middle school. No, it was elementary school, and he enrolled us in like an elementary school, and like it was with wealthy kids. So I kind of felt like less than because like all my stuff was like from the Goodwill and like secondhand. So I didn't like have really of anything. But then my mom finally came back, and like she was kind of weird when she came back, but that's a whole other thing. Anyway, she got money from somewhere, and we moved to Alabama. No, we were in Alabama. Sorry, we flew in. Yeah, flew from California to Alabama. So then she came to Alabama, and she got like a house like in the projects, which was fine. So we moved there, moved projects again, but she took us out of school. She was kind of doing some other stuff to us that I'm not going to mention. It wasn't. It was. I would just say abuse. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So then CPS found out, and yeah, she took us out of school too, and we had to like go do like she's basically exploiting us, but that's a whole different thing.
You're good.
So then
Don't feel like you have to go in crazy depth, or if you want to go in depth too, that's okay as well. So whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Then the CPS flew us to North Carolina, which is where I am now. Stayed with our grandmother. She exploited us, which is crazy. But I was enrolled in high school, so I was pretty okay, like with the exploitation to a certain extent, until like there was like verbal abuse, especially towards my sister, and well, especially towards me. But I didn't like how she was treating my sister. So I care about my sister more than I care about myself sometimes. But so then I kind of just like self-reported her because I didn't feel like safe living there. And she like kind of knew it was me, so she placed me in like one of her other properties, where like people stayed in like a house together. It was really weird, and I didn't like get to shower for like a long time. But anyway, so CPS came again, and I was transferred into foster care for the first time. I was like 17, I think, when I was transferred to foster care. And I went with the foster family. They're pretty nice. And I kind of felt like I felt safe. But there was a lot of religious stuff that I didn't want to be forced to do. But I still did it anyway. Then they found a place for me once I turned 18 because I couldn't stay with them any longer. So now I'm here at this transitional like living, and it's been amazing. Like there's a lot of people who care. So yeah,
That's amazing. that is I'm happy that you're in a stable place right now, because that sounds like a very unstable, just unstable like last 16, 17 years. Oh my goodness. And are you going to be staying in this transitional house until you graduate high school?
Yeah, so they said I can stay until I'm 21 as long as I'm like going to school or having a job. So I'm going to school and a job, of course.
Of course.
So
No, oh my gosh. That was incredible. Did you I know you brought her up recently, but are you still like hanging out, or not? How often do you see your sister now? I know that you brought her up as somebody that inspires you, but where is she now?
So before I went into foster care, she had enough money to go stay with her boyfriend in Alabama because they met back then. So I was like, you better go because you might not be able to go later. And she was like, but I'll miss you. I'm like, girl, just go. Just leave me. Because I already knew that I was going to be into foster care eventually anyway. So then she flew to Alabama, but we still talk on the phone and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
That's really interesting. Have you sort of created a social support network around you now?
Yeah, yeah. So I have a friend, my sister, and like the people here too. So
You like the people there? Okay. I'm really happy about that. I'm very happy that you're in a stable place. And your story is, it sounds incredibly wild. So how has it that was an incredible challenge. But how would you say it has faced, or it has shaped you?
So, sorry, my nose is kind of like.
Hey girl, take your time. Take your time. Honestly, like again, like you can take your time. This is your story. Take as long as you want. The fact that you're able to be here right now and like tell your story to people who might be able to hear you is like honestly like, and somebody who might be in a very similar situation to you and feeling like they had an unstable childhood will be incredibly grateful to hear that you're doing great now and of how smart you are and how accomplished you are.
Oh, thank you. I would say that it's definitely made me more patient. There was a lot of times where I had to kind of just sit and like take everything that was kind of like being thrown at me, and I think yeah, I'd be very patient, and also my perspective is pretty open. Like, I'm not gonna judge you like by your race or by your gender or by anything because people are people. Like at the end of the day, and like I have nothing to even judge for because I mean you just heard like everything. Like there's nothing really to be like judgeful about, but it's made me thankful, like very thankful, and that I know I need to work hard, like harder than I think the average person because I had that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. So I know, I mean, to be fair, I know somebody's not going to have the exact same challenges that you've had growing up, but what advice would you give to somebody who had to face a similar challenge to you?
There is a cycle where you have ups and you have downs. So a lot of times I think being in the down, or like I think it's called a trout, it hurts. Like it's the worst. Like you think you're gonna die and stuff like that. But you notice things start to get better and then you go into your peak. Life is amazing. So you're just gonna go through that cycle all the time, up and down, up and down. So I wouldn't worry about stuff too much.
Yeah, that's like a really that's a profound thought, because I think people oftentimes, especially when they're going through a rough time in their life, they think it won't pass.
It'll pass for most people, I think.
For most
Yeah.
people, yeah. Or like a rough feeling or a rough emotion. So it sounds like you take life as it gets thrown at you. Well, oh my gosh. So, we're like kind of wrapping up this interview just a little bit. Thank you so much for being vulnerable. I know that that's like, I mean, I know there's more things you probably could have talked about, and thank you for just talking like to us and telling us your story in general, because I think it is, again, so incredibly useful for others to experience, or at least to watch and learn from. So we're going to start wrapping up this interview just a little bit. I have a couple more questions, but what do you think is something about you that will get left out of standard applications?
I think it would be the in-person experience because there's only so much you can put on paper. And like some issues I've even encountered with my friend, she says, I can't tell your tone because you're texting me. So call me. And I'm like, I'm interested. I don't have enough energy for that yet. But I still try and call here and there. But yeah, I would definitely say the face-to-face experience. Because also, like I said, you can tell by people's face all the stuff they went through, and you can kind of tell by like their voice and face or like the way they sit. Like I usually sit with my legs crossed and my my hands over my laps because I'm used to being confined and looking like I need to be proper. It's just something I was used to because I'm used to being obedient, but that's another crazy thing. But just stuff like that, I'd say.
Yeah. Like you don't have like context to written words all the time. You don't have context to yourself. What would you say to a student who will be doing their own storyteller interview?
Be authentic. Because I think I don't really understand like when people on their college ask, because I used to do like college advising. I know I'm not in college. Well, I am, but I haven't done the admission process. But I would like read their essays, and they would like have a lot of like, I would say stuff that's not really realistic. They would kind of exaggerate like their experience. And I'll kind of just be like, you can kind of just be authentic. You can be regular because I promise they want your personality, not really your accomplishments.
Hey YouTube, if you enjoyed this person's story, don't forget to subscribe below to hear more from our inspiring youth. If you want to apply for our Storyteller Scholarship or get more involved in our organization, click the link below to apply. Thanks for watching!